All good things must come to an end, and as such, so too must this season of the Bootleg Racing League. But this year, we will most certainly end with a roar as these dirt street stocks take once again to the hallowed halls of Knoxville to close out the season. Welcome, everyone, to the final round of Season 10 for the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series, and we are here at the virtual Knoxville Raceway. My name is DJ Clark, and on behalf of the Virtual Grip Network, my partner here in the booth, Austin Belke, our director, David Christie, as well as everyone behind the scenes at VGN, we'd like to thank you for joining us here tonight. Well, Austin, this track is known as the sprint car capital of the world, but tonight we set the dirt street stocks loose on it. How are these big, heavy machines going to handle this wide circuit?
DJ, glad to be here. First off, thank you for having me. I think these things are going to take to this track like dirty clothes to a washing machine. I think it's going to be a fun time. The track was originally built actually in the 1800s for horse racing. Nowadays, though, we have a lot more horsepower out here. Should be good for a lot more excitement, too. I think we're going to have a really good time tonight.
Well, I, for one, am very, very much looking forward to it. Although it is a little sad to say that the championship is done and dusted. Brandon Proudfoot will once again be your victor, coming into this race about 150 points ahead of William Hargraves. A new name, though, Lon Franks, able to come into P3 with Billy Northcutt and Jason Best, rounding out your top five. Some good runs there, specifically from Jason Best, who has just not had the luck of the dice fall his way this season. Some more of the stalwarts a little bit farther down in the order: Jim Revis, Chris Davis, J.R. Shepard, Hunter Hill, another good name to see there on the charts. But Austin, we've been doing this for a hot minute, but for those who are unfamiliar with the way that this track is going to go and the way the session will play out, can you walk us through the race details for tonight?
Yeah, for sure, DJ. Typical dirt racing, we've got heats coming at you. 6 laps, the top 2 cars are going to transfer. Those cars are then that don't transfer are going to go into the mains, where we'll take most of the drivers. It really depends how many cars show up and how many we're going to take to the final. But 18 racers make the final 40-lap feature tonight. You're going to score points in the qualifying, the heat races, and the main event. So it's going to be really awesome. Caution laps are on, controlled by iRacing. They're only going to come up in the feature event only, but the caution laps don't count. And then when we get inside 10 laps to go, we go from double file restarts to single file. Going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it certainly is, and especially at a track like Knoxville that, well, it tends to be a little bit high line dominant, but because of how wide it is, you can really see multiple lanes, multiple grooves pay out here, and that always presents some multi-wide, multi-deep action, and it always seems to present a fantastic race.
Yeah, DJ, these guys really end up looking for grip anywhere they can. You really have to search around for a typical dirt track racing. You need to find where the grip is. You need to be able to read the road that you're driving on and be, all right, I'm on the inside right now. I need to go about, 3 lanes up to where the grip is, and that's where you're going to find a lot of time. Luckily for these guys, you mentioned that 3-4 wide racing sometimes. We're going to see it. There is a faster pair if you do get into trouble.
And that could come to play out because remember, those caution laps not counting. It's not like you can go a lap down by having to duck into the pits to take that faster pair. And because this is a wider track, there's a lot higher speeds that exist. So I think we may see a little bit more damage put onto these cars than we certainly did at some of the tighter, twistier places like Limaland like we did last week.
Yeah, DJ, these guys got that going for them as well. They've also been cleaning up their act the last couple of weeks that you and I have been up in the booth for sure. So I think these guys are going to keep it clean and green. But, worst case scenario, you got to come down pit road. You do get the added benefit of, caution laps don't count.
Exactly. And one thing, though, that is going to change up a little bit. Last week, I believe we were at 18 or 19 entrants, so not a lot to worry about having to go home. This week, we have 23 entrants in the field right now. So that means that 5 of these drivers are going to be headed home. And Austin, how does that really change things for your mentality as a driver when you know that the heat races and the consies have something very massively at stake?
DJ, you're a lot more amped up than you normally would be. Instead of just, no matter what, I cleared my calendar for this event, I get to race in this whole affair. You might not end up being able to race tonight. You have to go home. You have to sit in the stands up with us in the broadcast booth. It's not a bad life, let me tell you. But when you come here trying to drive a car, expecting to have the fun out there, making those laps with everyone else, it's kind of a bummer. So it really changes your mindset. Now you're racing out there, you're on a more offensive instead of just riding around, maybe a little bit defensive. So I expect it, it's going to change the pace here a lot.
Yeah, it certainly will. And that mentality is really going to come to bear. And the other thing that makes things a little bit interesting is, normally when we talk about riding the low line around tracks, there's those big tractor tires that can catch you out. There are those big areas that can really come to bite you. Well, Knoxville is unique in a sense because it has that interior berm, and that if you can catch it just right, it can really, really work out well for you. But if you get one wheel up onto it, that can really throw off your momentum and send you all the way back down the field.
That's right, DJ. Instead of those giant tractor tires where you can catch the car on and whip yourself around, we have the big berm here. If you catch yourself on this one, it's going to be more of a slow turn. It's kind of more like a lazy spin where you kind of holding on to the car, turning more and more right. That you still end up looping it. But you mentioned, some guys, they can catch the berm just right. We see Brandon Proudfoot be able to do that all the time. He just goes up, catches the berm, helps the car rotate around, really ends up giving him a lot more speed coming off the corner. He can roll the center extremely well compared to everyone else. So, yeah, like you mentioned, the berm here, a lot different compared to most tracks, really catches you out.
Yeah, it certainly can. And looking at practice times right now, Brendan Myers, Lon Franks, Jason Best, Chris Davis, Jim Redis, your top five. And so that's certainly going to change things up a little bit, I think. But, Austin, we've talked about this multiple times. Practice sessions, you can't read too much into it because of that always important track state.
That's right, DJ. So when these guys get into the practice, the track's at 0%. It's all pretty much not slick. It's very much grippy. So you can run the fastest laps you're gonna all night when the track's at that 0% state. So you get in here, put down a fast lap. It's really hard for these guys to come out and put down other competitive laps. But you can see all the track's session state right here. Obviously, track length, half a mile, temperature 64 degrees Fahrenheit, all that good stuff on there, including the stuff we ran down through at the top of the broadcast here. But yeah, as the track gets more and more worn out, you see that slickness in there, that slick line. That's where you start to lose the rear end of the car, so the track's getting slower and slower.
Yeah, and some drivers will be able to use that slickness to their advantage, really dive the car into the corner, let it run up against the cushion on the high side. And I think some of those that are doing a pretty good job of it right now is Brendan Myers, as we said, continues to be top of the pops as he sits atop the standings right now. This is Robbie Robinson working his way around right now. Looks like a new wrap there for Robbie. We're used to seeing him in that sort of gold and white machine. Some new tones there for the 56. Always love to see that.
Yeah, really digging this new scheme from Robbie. I always liked his schemes before, but this is a whole nother level. Really digging this.
Yeah, good ones there for him. Some of the usual contenders that we're used to seeing up towards the top of the charts, Hargraves and Proudfoot, have yet to set a time down here. So not really sure where they're going to stand in terms of competition. We have had a couple of other members join into the session, Chris Hill and Chris Hazlip. So that is going to raise the total number here up to 25. That means 7 drivers are going to be going home. And Austin, I have got to think that that is going to make for those consolation races to be fast, furious, and very intense.
Yeah, DJ, if you're in the first couple spots in those races, you can kind of afford to play it defensively. But if you're in the second half of the people that advance as well as the people that are on the outside looking in, you're going to be as, you're going to want to be as offensive as possible to make up those positions. You're not going to give anyone any space. It's all take. So I think we're going to see a lot of bumping and banging in those races. But I think in the heats we have, everything should be pretty clean because, again, only 2 guys are going to advance. There's not a whole lot of room for error for these guys, but you can't go banging doors to get yourself up into those positions.
No, you certainly can't. You got to be watching out for it. We continue to watch Robbie Robinson here. Looks like he's kind of favoring that middle to high lane here, just letting the track dictate where he wants to go. There you can see him hooking up with that cushion about mid-corner. That's some very heads-up running there, and that is so much of what's important about dirt track racing for those uninitiated here, Austin, is you really have to let the track dictate where you want to drive. If you try to drive offline a little bit, make something new, well, that can send you in a whole world of trouble.
For sure, DJ. You look out here, out the front windshield of Robbie's car, you can see there's, a very much a matte finish to the track, and then it's really slick, and then it's matte again, and then it's really fuzzy up by the wall. Where you want to be is you want to put your front tires on that matte finish, and you want to put your rear tires somewhere just barely into that fuzzy stuff. You can see the trading paints now kind of up Robbie's typical scheme on the car. I've always loved Robbie's schemes, pretty sharp-looking paint schemes for him, but that's just where you want to position the car. If you get in that slick stuff in between those two matte finish areas, you're going to spin out. But looks like we're ready for qualifying, DJ.
We are indeed, and as you said earlier, it will be 4 laps for these drivers to decide how quickly they want to go. We've seen some alternating strategies over the course of the season as they go around. We've seen some drivers like to go out and put all 4 laps down right from the get-go. We've also seen some other drivers opt to come out, maybe put 1 or 2 laps down and then wait to the end of the session. We'll have to see how that plays out, but right now, Justin Simmons, Lon Franks, Jeffrey Harden, John Wilson, Eli Schaefer, Cody Jones, Joe Segala, Neville Olf, Robbie Robinson, and Chris Hazlip, all among the drivers that are going to be starting things out. Simmons, unless I am mistaken, is a relatively new name here in the series, so always love to see some new blood coming in. He's opting to run low, playing a little bit of footsie there with that berm down on the low side.
Yeah, always great to see the new blood in here. And this is oftentimes, how you see which guys are fast and which guys aren't is in the qualifying session here. Now, granted, like we mentioned in the pre-race, the track is going to get slicked off. So these lap times aren't the most indicative of who has long-run race pace, but they are for sure a good basic indicator of who's going to be your contenders and who won't be. You can see Neville Olf goes to the top of the timing sheets. Good lap there for Jeffrey Harden. Lon Franks, though, typically faster. We see him shoot up to the top of the charts.
Yeah, Eli Schaefer's going to follow in behind them. Pretty much most of the drivers out now. It looks like Lon Frank's going to be one of those drivers that opts to come back down pit lane as William Hargraves, who is locked into that second place in the championship. He's going to jump up to pole position. Chris Hill jumps into 6th. I see Jason Best good enough for 6th best right now. There is Lon Franks coming back out again. He and Hargraves both opting to put 1 fast lap down and then coming back in, re-racking, and going out there again. Quite a few drivers still to set times as we get some more coming in here. Jim Revis up to 4th, Steven Spies into 7th. I see Cody Jones in 14th and Todd Liston up into 18th.
Yeah, Matt Shanoski throwing down a lap time. Good to see Steven Spies back here. He's a part-time driver, so whenever he does get the opportunity to join us, he's certainly one of the drivers you want to watch out for. John Wilson has improved a lot over the years. You see Lon Franks out there making more laps. William Hargraves, one of the drivers, like you mentioned, DJ, likes to go out, put down a hot lap, and then pull back into the pits for a while, see if anyone can best that.
I just saw Jackie Whaley put in a time that was good enough for 10th best. Still waiting for Bobby Hayes, J.R. Shepard, Brandon Proudfoot, and Glenn Townsend to set a time. Bobby Hayes, apparently hearing me there, puts down a time that'll get him 12th best right now. Not seeing a lot of improvement. Glenn Townsend able to get his first lap down. That'll be good enough to net him a P11 right now, as we still have drivers circulating around here, just waiting to see. Right now, the big one to be able to decide where he's going to go, the number 22, your once and future champion, Brandon Proudfoot, waiting for a time from him. Jim Revis currently in 4th. I think the 57 will be pleased with that.
Yeah, you mentioned Brandon Proudfoot, pretty much our perennial champion at this point. I mean, he just dominates these races in this series, and he has some pretty stiff competition, but at the end of the day, it's a grueling season here in BRL, so you have to make sure you're here for all the weeks and on the top of your game when you're going up against guys like Brandon. So very nice to see him as a champion, very deserving of that again.
Yeah, most certainly is waiting for that time from Proudfoot to come in. Your top 5 right now, Hargraves, Davis, Franks, Revis, and Schaefer. Good runs in there. Jason Best able to put in a very good time to go P2. Brandon Proudfoot's first lap only good enough to net him P6, so some work to do there for the 22.
Yeah, if you're Brandon right now, you just want to go around the track and see if you can nail that line any harder than you did, or if you want to try search around, look for more grip. Oh, you can see he bounced off that berm right there. That is not a good lap. I think he's just going to stop the car, and he might end up resetting it here. I don't think he incurred too much damage, but he did reset it. You see William Hargraves out there putting down some more fast laps.
Yeah, Hargraves will have another shot here to try to better his lead. He's currently 12 thousandths of a second ahead of Jason Best, so not a whole lot of time there, as it's short dirt track racing tends to be very, very close gaps all the way through the field. Indeed, P1 to P24 only separated by 39 hundredths of a second. Hargraves doesn't look like he's able to improve there on that lap. We still have a couple of drivers out there. Steven Spees, one of them. I see Chris Davis trying to set some times. Proudfoot comes around now to start another flyer. He's got about 30 seconds left to go in this session. Chris Davis unable to improve there. Let's see if Hargraves has got anything on his final lap. He's going to cross over, and that does not look like an improvement for Hargraves, so he's going to stay where he is. Now waiting to see Davis and Proudfoot. Davis is going to cross over the line in that number 7 machine. Is he going to be able to improve? Doesn't look like he is. Proudfoot
up
is.
to 4th.
So a good run there for Brandon. That'll get him on the front row of one of these heats as qualifying comes to an end.
Yeah, really good news for Brandon. He was going to be hurting for certain if he wanted to make it into the feature event right off the bat.
Yes, he was. There you can see those full qualifying results on your screen, and that is going to determine the starting order for our heat races. And let's go ahead and bring you right into the starting grid for heat race number 1 here at Knoxville Raceway, the sprint car capital of the world. Lining up in pole position, it will be William Hargraves, and to his outside, it is Lon Franks. Neville Olf will line up in P3, followed by Jackie Whaley in P4.
Justin Simmons lines up in 5th with Cody Jones to his outside. Rounding out the field is Chris Hayslip in 7th.
All right, so we've got a pretty mixed up order here. Some good names in the back. I think Ulf and Whaley in particular, 2 drivers that are going to be looking to try to advance their way forward. But Austin, with only 2 drivers advancing, they're going to have a hard time beating out perennial favorites such as Hargraves and Franks here.
Yeah, that's right, DJ, especially with how short these heat races are. There's only 6 laps to improve your position, and you know, clean track means everything. Not for the fact of downforce, but just being able to choose what line you want and when you want to use that line. You're going to see some guys go to the inside and some guys go to the outside. If there's someone in your way, you have to find your way around them. Typically here in BRL, we don't usually put the bumper to people, so, I mean, you might see that come into play, but usually you're not gonna.
Exactly. We like to pride ourselves here on the Bootleg Racing League of some good, clean, fair racing across the board. So you're not going to see a lot of chrome horn here necessarily. But now Leader does have lane choice in the heats, in the consies, and in the feature race. But it looks like William Hargraves is going to take the traditional starting position here, starting on the inside. We anticipate that high line probably coming in a little bit later, so we'll have to see if that plays out for him. But he's going to have some stiff competition with Franks to his outside. As of right now, all eyes go to the iRacing pace truck as it works its way around and scampers off into pit lane control of the field, going back to William Hargraves, and he gets on the loud pedal, able to pretty much clear Lon Franks by the time they come across the start-finish line. He is going to go down to that low side. It looks like Jackie Whaley in the 720 trying to work a little bit high on Neville Ulf, but Ulf is laid up there a little bit, and I don't think Ulf is going to be able to hold on to that position, and indeed, Jackie Whaley will move himself up into 3rd, but up front, it continues to be Hargraves and Franks running line astern.
Yeah, William got a huge start there. Lon Franks got through turns 1 and 2 a little bit better than him, cut him down the backstretch, but just really couldn't do anything or get down to his inside, so he's instead just going to follow around in the tire tracks of William for at least the first 2 laps here as they go down into turns 3 and 4. Once again, you can see just how close Lon is to the back bumper there with this camera angle from David up in the broadcast booth, giving us a lot of great angles here. You can see the first 5 cars singled out now.
Yeah, everybody's singling out here. We're not seeing a lot of discrepancies in line. I think everybody just a little content to run as they are, maybe see if they can find a line a little bit later in the race. Now, remember, the heat races are only 6 laps long, so as they cross the start-finish line here, that will be halfway in the books. And I think if you're Lon Franks here and want to get a move on to try to move your way forward, or if you're Jackie Whaley, want to move yourself up into that final transfer position, it is now go time.
Yeah, it's go time. I mean, if you're Lon Franks right now, obviously, you know, the race car driver mentality, you want to do as well as you possibly can every single race. And if there's a gap, you go for the gap. You want to get every position. But right now, he's sitting pretty comfortably. He's got a decent lead back to Jackie Whaley in third place, so he doesn't need to make anything huge happen. Obviously, he's going to try to win, but if he doesn't make anything go here, you know, he's still going to make the feature event right off the bat.
Well, there, as you saw as they dove into turn one, that was Lon Franks trying to push William Hargraves a little bit wide. A good heads-up aggressive move there, just trying to see if he can maybe move him off that preferred inside line. But it looks like Hargraves is going to be able to carry the momentum here as they cross over the line, and Barney waves the white flag here. 1 lap to go in heat number 1 at Knoxville. They continue to work their way around. Franks trying to diamond off the corner just a little bit more, seeing if there's anything to be gained over that number 71 directly ahead of him. They dive into 3 and 4 for the final time. Everybody's still single file. Frank's searching for a little bit more grip in that 58 machine, but it's all going to come to naught as William Hargraves will cross over the start-finish line to take victory in Heat 1. Lon Franks, the other car, automatically advancing.
Yeah, Jackie Whaley, Neville Alf, Justin Simmons, Chris Hazlip, all drivers that are going to have to go on to the Consi races as we now get ready for heat number 2.
And there you see that final finishing order. A pretty telling distance, about a 10th back for Franks, but about 0.5 of a second back between Lon Franks and Jackie Whaley. And that's really a story that we've seen through a lot of the season. A big discrepancy between the front runners and the mid-pack. But as you said, Justin, we are ready for heat race number 2. Jason Best going to be lining up in pole position. To his outside, it'll be Jim Revis, and Steven Spies will line up in P3.
Glenn Townsend lines up in P4 with Robbie Robinson in 5th and Joe Segala to his outside in 6th.
All right, so Jason Best continuing his good run of pace here. We've talked a lot about that 47 and jinxed that 47 a whole lot over the course of this season, but it really does look like that there is more and more speed to be wrung out of that car.
Yeah, we've certainly given them a lot of jinxes this season, DJ. You know, you hate to see it from up here in the booth, but honestly, how superstitious can you be? I feel like sometimes that's just the luck of the draw, but Jason certainly does have a lot more speed than his recent finishes would indicate.
Well, they would indeed. And normally on a track like this, I would say watch out for Steven Spies. You know, always a contender. You mentioned him earlier, a part-time runner here in the Bootleg Racing League. But Steven tends to be a driver that likes to favor the low side of tracks. And I think early on for Steven, this could favor him a little bit. But especially as this night goes along and we've got to run closer and closer to the wall to keep that momentum up, we may see the 55 having a wee bit of problems.
Yeah, he does really well when all the grip's down at the bottom of the track. Usually in these, you know, original heat races, sometimes in the Consi, we've seen Steven do really well in the Consi races. Then they get into the later races, and he doesn't flounder. He just has a lot more problem keeping up with the faster guys, especially when they're ripping the lip on the outside.
Exactly. It is not a case of floundering, as you said. He just likes to get that speed down on the lower track. But right now, he'll be starting down on the lower side of the track right now as he keeps his eyes focused on Jason Best. iRacing pace truck moving off into pit lane, and there goes the flag. Jason Best gets a good start, and Spies able to pull himself a little bit alongside Jim Revis there, challenging down for that preferred inside line. Spies trying to work his way up just a little bit more, but momentum is going to favor Jim Revis as they come out of turn 2. Spies is going to be able to at least keep a little bit of a crossover, but as they dive into turn 3, Revis thinks about shutting the door, but not quite able to. All the cars drifting up the track a little bit, looking like almost a modified slider line as they come out of 4.
Yeah, that start there was crucial for Spies. If he was able to just follow Best through onto the inside of Jim Revis, it was pretty much going to be clear-cut second position for this race, and Jim was going to have to find a way to get back around him. You can see Steven now going back on the offensive, trying to see if he can find a way around Jim, but I think it's going to be really difficult here as Lon Franks proved last time out.
I have to agree with you there, Austin, as we ride on board with the number 55 of Steven Spies, just trying to find a little bit of an advantage over Revis right now. Glenn Townsend about 0.2 of a second, about a full car length behind Steven Spies, so he can't go too risky here and try to make a mistake. Otherwise, he'll find that third place position falling out of his fingers.
Yeah, nor can Jim Revis. If he's too aggressive trying to get around Jason Best, Steven's going to pass him. And if you're Jim, you're really in the worst kind of position you could be in right now, apart from, you know, obviously automatically advancing, because if you mess up, Steven passes you, and if Steven passes you, you then have to go to the Consi races. So you ideally want to get around Jason Best, so you at least then got to be passed by 2 cars before you're forced into the Consi races.
Indeed, as drivers come to the line here, 2 to go at Knoxville in this second heat race. Revis now starting to look like he's putting a little bit of pressure onto Jason Best. Very careful not to slide the car too far up the track. A little bit more momentum from behind from Steven Spies, but he's got to check himself up as Revis moves his way up into that higher line.
Yeah, that's right. You can see them all kind of heel and toe right next to each other, all running about the same lines. If either one of these guys bobbles, any three of them, you're going to have some problems. White flag, though, in the air from Barney the Flagman.
White flag in the air. Revis trying to get a little bit of a better diamond off the corner. He's got great momentum. Gets into the back of Best there. That checks the two of them up. Spies thinking about maybe trying to have a little bit of an advantage here. He's going to try to run that car a little bit wider. More contact between Best and Revis. They're all bumping and banging. Here comes Spies on the outside as they cross the line. It's going to be Jason Best and Steven Spies by the narrowest of margins, automatically advancing into the feature race.
Yeah, unfortunately, the four guys going to have to go on to the Consi: Jim Rivas, Glenn Townsend, Robbie Robinson, and Joe Segala. What a finish, though.
And that just goes to show you here in dirt racing, you can never count anything out. Steven Spies able to pip that at the line. But just like that, we get ready to move on to heat race number 3 here at Knoxville. And with this, it's going to be Mr. Aggressive Chris Davis lining up in pole position, Eli Schaefer to his outside, and Hunter Hill lining up in 3rd.
Bobby Hayes lines up in 4th with Sean Wilson, and 5th coming up tail the field is Brennan Myers.
All right, so a couple of drivers here, Austin, that I'm a little surprised to see starting so far down the order. In particular, John Wilson, a driver that we've seen do very, very well across the season here. The 75, the Canadian driver, always seems to have some good pace, and I would not expect him to be this far down in a heat race.
Yeah, usually John is quite a bit faster than this. Sometimes, though, you just miss the mark in qualifying. You just think, a certain line is going to be the best opportunity for you to put down a really, a flyer of a lap, and you just kind of miss the mark, whether it's one lane off or he just flounders a couple times. Sometimes, too, you can just get a little bit too close to the wall. It discounts a couple of your laps. Then you're forced to take basically the slowest of all 4 of them. I've had it happen to me a couple times here. One guy I'm also surprised to see back there in the back is Brennan Myers. He was actually top of the timing sheets in practice, but I guess, as we say at the top of every broadcast almost, the practice times are not very indicative of who's going to be the fastest come race time.
Indeed, it just goes to show you that, but it'll be an interesting thing to watch in that 3rd row to see if Wilson and Myers have got a little bit of speed to push themselves forward. But up the front of the field, it is Eli Schaefer and Chris Davis. Davis, once again, going in form here. He is going to be starting to the inside on this start. So we haven't seen a driver opt to take that outside line quite yet, but we might a little bit more as this night goes along. Control of the field about to go over to the hands of the number 7, and indeed there it does. He gets on the loud pedal about midway through 3 and 4, and we get racing here in the 3rd heat race. It is a pretty sizable margin in terms of jumps that we've seen out of Chris Davis there. Eli Schaefer in the 17 trying to push his way forward just a little bit more. Bobby Hayes working his high line behind them. He's going to try to carry some momentum over Hunter Hill as they dive into 3 and 4.
Yeah, Schaefer got a really good run there out of turns 1 and 2. He was able to pull the crossover, get extremely close to the rear bumper of Chris Davis. Not able to make much of it, though, because it looks like the most line you can get, the most speed you can get around the track, kind of entering 1 or 2 lanes off the bottom, then cut down on exit. Kind of like you're on an asphalt short track, though. You can see Eli Schaefer getting some huge runs off the corner.
Whoa, all the way up into the berm, checks up, and a little bit of contact there with Chris Davis. Is that going to open up the door to Bobby Hayes behind him? We watch as they come out of turn 4. It's not going to open up the door to Hayes, but that checkup has also allowed for Hunter Hill and Brennan Myers to be duking it out a little bit. Hayes in that 13th fistful of water machine trying to push his way forward, but it looks like Eli Schaefer's been able to hold on to that 2nd place position for now.
Yeah, that was really close to being a huge moment for a lot of these drivers, except, of course, for Chris Davis. If Eli had any more speed going into that, I'm sure he would have taken out the entire field there. So obviously not the highest percentage move, but you're just going for it. And sometimes the berm doesn't really react how you think it will to your car.
Indeed, it will not. They dive their way through 3 and 4. Again, coming to the line to take 2 to go. Bobby Hayes working that high line, trying to carry some momentum. And Schaefer, again, getting a little bit cross-eyed up on the berm. That's going to allow for some side-by-side as they cross over the line. That's going to be Bobby Hayes to the outside. Eli Schaefer to the inside.
Oh, contact.
Bang doors, indeed. And now it's going to be a battle of momentum coming out of 2.
Yeah, drag race down the backstretch. You see Schaefer to the inside, Hayes to the outside. Schaefer got in there with a huge head of steam. That is going to force Hayes on the outside to kind of check up just a little bit, adjust his line. Schaefer, though, almost completely clear, does clear him now into turns 1 and 2. Last time, white flag, DJ.
White flag is in the air. Hunter Hill also looking a little bit interested in this battle, but it's allowing for Chris Davis to scamper off into the lead. There's a good run. Big clobber with the wall there for Bobby Hayes as they come out of 3 and 4. This is going to be a battle down to a drag race. More contact coming out of the corner. Eli Schaefer getting his elbows out. Is that going to be Hunter Hill that's going to be able to take it at the line? It is Chris Davis, Eli Schaefer, and Brennan Myers working his way up into P3.
Yeah, that was really close there between Hayes and Schaefer. Unfortunately, though, the 4 guys going to have to go to the Consi races, Brennan Myers, Hunter Hill, Bobby Hayes, and John Wilson. So we'll see those guys in just a couple minutes. But we have to get through our last heat of the night, DJ.
We do indeed. And starting off in pole position for this final heat, it will be your champion, Brandon Proudfoot. And alongside him, it'll be sometimes VGN commentator J.R. Shepard. Behind them in P3, it's Jeffrey Harden.
Chris Hill lines up in 4th position with Matt Shinoski in 5th. Todd Liston rounds out the field in 6th.
All right, so some good battles here up at the front. And I, for one, obviously, a little bit biased because he does happen to share the booth with us every now and again. But it's good to see J.R. Shepard back towards the pointy end of the field. Really, since the tire update has come into play, we haven't seen him be as successful and as strong in these dirt street stocks.
Yeah, DJ, when the tire update came into play, the cars felt extremely different to how they had before. That's actually kind of half the reason I was glad to be up here in the booth. The cars just weren't to my liking. I know JR was very much in the same boat. The cars felt a lot more like they were on basketballs, a lot different to how they felt in the previous update. So just kind of not to his liking, but he's been getting better and better, kind of morphing his driving style into these setups, very much like he's had to do on the asphalt side when we've been getting more tighter and tighter setups. JR likes a looser car.
And it is good to see him back up towards the pointy end of the field. Harden and Hill lining up behind them. That's a pretty competitive row as well. We've seen some good runs out of the two of them, but all eyes obviously going to be fixed onto that 22. As I said, your once and future champion, Brandon Proudfoot.
Yeah, pretty much a guaranteed lock on championship competitor is Proudfoot. J.R. Shepard's no slouch either, and Jeffrey Harden has had a lot of good runs recently, seen a lot of speed out of that guy. Asphalt racer through and through, but he's been really good on dirt the last couple seasons.
He certainly has that 36 coming alive, but right now it's the eyes on the 22 who will take control of the field once the iRacing pace truck pulls off into the pits here. And indeed, there it goes off into the inside and over the berm. Proudfoot waiting a little bit later than we've seen, but gets on the loud pedal, catches J.R. Shepard napping a little bit. He's able to pull out about a half a car length advantage as they dive into turn 1. That's going to be Chris Hill trying to work on the high side, carry momentum the best he can around. Shepard working very, very low there, but he's able to slot into position, but Proudfoot able to pull about a car length advantage as they dive into 3.
Yeah, Chris Hill got to the outside wall pretty hard there off turn 2, and J.R. Shepard's just trying to straighten up his exit off turns 1 and 2 there to get as much momentum as he can down the back straightaway. You see Chris Hill looking to the inside of J.R. Shepard, not going to be able to do much of it right now. Brandon Proudfoot puts down the fastest lap to the surprise of no one.
Indeed, it do look like Chris Hill got a little friendly there with the wall coming out of turn 2, but they were able to keep things nice and clean. Shepard able to carry some good momentum mid-corner there, try to reduce that gap as they come off the line, but slows and stalls a little bit. The gap up to about, let's call it 2 car lengths as they dive into turn 1. Chris Hill starting to look a little bit threatening behind. He looks pretty confident on that high line.
He certainly does, DJ. If JR makes a single mistake, Chris is going to be there in a heartbeat, and JR has to be really careful that if Chris does get there, he makes sure that Jeffrey Harden doesn't get there either. You can see just how close now JR is to the back end of Brandon Proudfoot.
Yeah, he's closing in. He's been able to get that gap to about a half a car length again, so right where they started. JR's got a lot of good speed mid-corner. He just loses a little bit of a blast off of that final line. And now as they go into 3 and 4, getting ready to take the 2-to-go mark from Barney the Flagman, we see the lines differ a little bit. Proudfoot trying to dive low, maybe throw a little bit of a slider there, but Shepard able to carry great momentum around the outside. He's now got that nearly line astern as they dive into turn 1 for the penultimate time.
Yeah, Shepard's looking to the inside of Brandon Proudfoot here. He's not completely clear as they come off the corner. I think, like you mentioned, though, Brandon Proudfoot gets a really good run off of each and every corner. J.R. Shepard rolls the center really, really good, but he just can't quite stay with Brandon on the exit. You can see Brandon just ekes away towards the lead as they now take the white flag.
Yeah, white flag in the air. Chris Hill looking like he's falling back just a little bit. He's about 2 car lengths behind of J.R. Shepard. Shepard continuing to try to hassle Brandon Proudfoot here as they take the last half a lap in this 4th and final heat race. Now both drivers taking very similar lines through turns 3 and 4. Shepard trying to look to the inside here a little bit, but it's all going to be for naught as Brandon Proudfoot takes the heat race victory. J.R. Shepard will automatically advance in 2nd behind him.
Yeah, Chris Hill, Jeffrey Hart, Matt Shinaski, Todd Liston, all guys we're going to see in the Consi races coming up here in just a couple seconds. We'll go ahead and get you the starting lineup order for those.
Indeed, we will. And here is the first consolation race, the C main. It's going to be Jackie Whaley lining up in pole position, followed by Brennan Myers with Neville Ulf and Hunter Hill, your top 4.
Yeah, starting 5th is going to be Justin Simmons with Bobby Hayes to his outside. Rounding out the field is Chris Hazlip in 7th and John Wilson in 8th.
All right, so out of this race, it will be the top 5 advancing on. So that is the crucial number to be looking at. You need to be in those top 5 positions to be able to get into the A main and see the end of the race here tonight. John Wilson gritting up right now, so it looks like we will have the full cadre of 8 cars out there. And Austin, we talked about this a little bit at the start of the broadcast, but this is now or never time. This is where the pressure is up to be in that top 5.
Yeah, this is where you're a go or go homer. You know, the pay window doesn't even open for you if you don't get out of the Consi races here and into the main event. So I think if you're the first 3 guys, you're sitting quite pretty. You got some room to fall back before you're really in jeopardy. If you're in 4th or 5th position, you can really only afford to lose 1 or 2 spots. And if you're in 6th, 7th, or 8th, you need to be all on attack right here to get every single position you can, just in case something happens. I really expect we're going to see some bumping and banging here. Not intentionally, but these guys are just going to be throwing some haymakers.
Exactly. You really get the pressure up. You really get those nerves and that adrenaline starting to go. Although, as we've seen, track position seems to be fairly king around here. So I've got to say the impetus right now on Jackie Whaley right now. He and Brendan Myers, they will control the field. Whaley looks like he's going to be starting on the inside line yet again.
Yeah, I expect Brennan just to kind of slot into 2nd as soon as he can. We'll have to see if Neville Ulf in the 3rd position starting spot can kind of nestle up right behind Jackie to make sure that Brennan can't get down. But I think that highline is starting to get more and more speed into it. So I think if you're trapped up on the outside, you're not too bad a spot right now.
No, I don't think you are either, but it is now time for the rubber to meet the dirt because the iRacing pace truck scampers off to the inside and we get ready to go racing for the first Consi race. It's a very early start for Jackie Whaley. He is on it big time, pretty much a car length ahead already of Brendan Myers as they dive into turn 1. That's going to be side by side for Hunter Hill and Neville Ulf behind them. Bobby Hayes trying to find a little bit of a slot to be able to move his way forward. Hunter Hill carrying some good momentum out of turn 2 right now. He's going to have a little bit of a look on Brendan Myers, but that is Neville Ulf sending the car deep, but has to check himself up.
Yeah, Hunter had a really good run down the backstretch, but he's just kind of blocked in there with Neville to his inside and Brennan in front of him. So his run was kind of all for naught. He just kind of had to check up instead of putting the bumper to the back end of Brennan. So nice sportsmanship there. You love to see that. Neville Ulf get huge sideways off turn 2.
Yeah, huge sideways, and that costs him there a little bit as Hunter Hill is now going to be able to slide in on that high line, make things work for him potentially. In terms of that final transfer spot, Justin Simmons holds it right now. Bobby Hayes threatening to try to get by him just a little bit. We are almost Noah's Ark as we dive into the corner. Hunter Hill just separating things out a little bit more. Brendan Myers starting to pull ahead of Neville Ulf. Hunter Hill trying to carry that momentum and get himself up into P3.
Yeah, Jackie Whaley's got to be loving this. There's a huge cork in the bottle right now. That cork is the 25 car. Brendan Myers, that 30 car, Neville Ulf. They're just going, having a whale of a battle at each other. You see Hunter Hill now trying to get to the outside of Neville just to make sure he can't pass him, then make it 3 wide, or just only make it 2 wide with Brendan Myers in case Neville makes a mistake.
And that was a great camera angle there from our director, David. You can see just how close these guys are running and the absolute infinitesimal margins that they have to deal with. There they go around. That is the 033 of Justin Simmons. Remember, he is in that final coveted transfer position. He is just holding on to the back, riding the high line. Neville Ulf, though, looking like he's losing out a little bit on the low side.
Yeah, the last couple laps, we've seen Brennan kind of eke ahead over Neville. Hunter Hill is just loving this. Of course, he's forced to take the high side here, just kind of following the tire tracks of Brendan Myers. He's loving the fact that Neville's kind of falling back, and I'm sure Justin Simmons is too.
Yes, he is. And Simmons has been able to rebuff any attacks that are coming along here from the likes of Bobby Hayes or John Wilson, who are just kind of holding on to the back of the pack. A little bit sideways there for Neville Olf, and that's going to allow for Justin Simmons to maybe think about getting alongside. May have made a little bit of minor contact there with the outside wall, but he is going to be okay. Diving now through the corner. Good momentum up on the high side for the 033 of Justin Simmons, but he's not able to carry it off, and now Bobby Hayes is going to look to his inside as they take 2 to go.
Yeah, if these guys aren't careful, either Neville's going to lose a couple spots or Justin's going to lose out to Brendan Myers down on the inside. You see John Wilson. He's just hoping these guys get into trouble with one another. He can gain him at least 2 or 3 spots.
Indeed, Jackie Whaley, though, 1.3 seconds all the way up into the lead. We ride on board with Neville Olf as they make a nice little diamond coming off of the corner. White flag in the air here for the C main. Brendan Myers continues to hold on. Olf trying to hold down to that low line. Hunter Hill with a good run. Looks like he is going to be able to move himself just slightly ahead of Neville Olf. Justin Simmons on that high line behind him, trying to see what he can do. Bobby Hayes down low, trying to eke away that last transfer position. Here comes Jackie Whaley to the line. Brendan Myers is going to cross behind him. It will be Myers, Hill, Olf, and Simmons automatically advancing in a very, very tight C main.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bobby Hayes. It's going to be John Wilson, Chris Hazlip, the 3 drivers that are not going to advance into the final event. So their ride for the race ends here, and they're going to have to join the stands with us.
Yes, they are, and that's going to be a little bit disappointing for those drivers. But we are not done with the consolation races. That's right. We've got one more to go here. This is the B main, and in it, it'll be Jim Revis lining up in pole position, followed by Chris Hill with Glenn Townsend and Jeffrey Harden 3 and 4.
Robbie Robinson lines up in 5th with Matt Shanoski to his outside. Joe Segala lines up in 7th with Todd Liston, starting in 8th. Rounding out the field is Cody Jones in 9th.
All right, so again here, Austin, only 5 drivers are able to advance, and so with 9 drivers here, that's really going to amp up the pressure on these bottom 4.
Yeah, instead of just 3 drivers going home, there's going to be 4 drivers at the bottom of the field who don't even get to go up to the pay window. They're just forced to leave the track after this race. They cannot race in the feature event. So basically same rules as last time apply. The first 3 drivers, you're kind of safe. 4th and 5th, you're on the bubble. You got to be really defensive here. If you're in 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, you pretty much just have to be as offensive and attack as much as you can. If you're in 9th position, you kind of know maybe you don't deserve to be here just on raw pace alone. You're kind of just hoping you can eke into the race here with some unfortunate happenings to the guys in front of you.
Indeed, and the driver who's going to be starting off on that bubble will be the 56 of Robbie Robinson. And so he is going to have to be looking ahead and behind to try to secure that position as much as possible. But right now, eyes focusing in on the 57, Jim Revis. A little bit surprising to see him back in the B main like this. We normally like to see him up at the top of the charts, but he will have his work cut out for him. Chris Hill, Glenn Townsend, Jeffrey Harden, not going to make his life easy. Backs up the field a good ways off of the iRacing pace truck as it moves its way off into pit lane and control of the field, goes over to that 57 machine. He gets on the loud pedal early, a very, very good jump. He's going to try to bring Glenn Townsend along with him. Townsend certainly thinking about trying to make a move to the inside of the 05 there of Chris Hill. Interesting there, Revis diving down low, running a little bit of a slider line, and everybody else opting to run high. And look at that run for Chris Hill.
Yeah, DJ, he just wanted to get in the corner as cleanly as possible to make sure that no one was to his inside or outside. Then you can slide up, take advantage of where all the grip is in the corner. Looks like where you want to be is just on the outside of that slick stuff there. You're going to see these drivers right there. You can see the front end is in the slick stuff. The rear end is in that matte, kind of light brown finish to the track. That's where most of the speed is right now. You can get it done all the way down on the inside, but you really have to play with that throttle, especially with how much you're having to crank the wheel.
Indeed you are, and Chris Hill cranking that wheel a lot, getting a good run off of the corner. He was able to be alongside Revis as they left turns 1 and 2, but coming off of 3 and 4 didn't exactly seem like he had the same drive off the line. He's going to try it again, cutting down, diamonding off the corner, not able to get quite the run he wants, but he's got to be careful because Glenn Townsend of the 23 very close behind them.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, DJ. Glenn has caught these two by quite a good margin over the last couple laps. If either one of these guys makes a mistake, goes a little bit too wide in the corner, Glenn's going to be there to capitalize. You can see just how close all these cars are running together. You could throw a blanket over the first 3 cars, and then from 4th on back, another blanket. They're all pretty much single file as they go through here. A couple guys kind of trying out a little bit different lines, but only about a quarter of a car width different.
Glenn Townsend absolutely running that car ragged. He got himself up into the gray on the entrance of 3 and then clipped the berm coming down through 4. I'm amazed he's been able to keep this close behind. It's a very, very impressive run there for the 23. Got Chris Hill continuing to try to challenge Revis. Revis now going low, running that slider line again. Chris Hill just keeping it up on the high side, trying to diamond off those corners as much as possible. Maybe a little bit of a threat there from behind from Glenn Townsend, but it all coming to naught there. They continue to run single file.
Yeah, DJ, as our old dirt street stock VGN counterpart Ken and Kibbe used to say, if you want to pass cars on dirt, you kind of got to go where they ate. Right now, Glenn's the best at doing that, kind of using that low line when he wants to. I feel like he's just testing the waters here, getting ready to throw a bomb of a slider on the last couple laps.
Well, he's only got 2 laps left to do it because part of the flag man has signaled that for the rest of the field. Everyone looking pretty single file here, wanting to go on the high line at the start and then diamonding off the corner a little bit. More of an aggressive diamond there from Chris Hill. Glenn Townsend going to try to run that super high line again. Is he going to try to keep it high here, or is he going to try to diamond it off? A little bit of catch of the berm there for Chris Hill. That's going to set up a little bit of a drag race. It's now Chris Hill down to the inside. The 23 of Glenn Townsend up high. Hill's got to check himself up off the slider. That's going to allow for Townsend to carry momentum there side by side, and we're on the white flag lap. Here we go. That is going to be Hill down low, Townsend up high. Who's going to be able to carry the momentum off the corner? Jim Revis just trying to hold off in the middle there. A little bit of a blunt up of the momentum. It's going to be Townsend who's able to take 2 as Jim Revis wins the B main. Chris Hill takes 3rd.
Yeah, Jeffrey Harden, Matt Shanoski, the other 2 drivers that also get to transfer into the main affair here. Robbie Robinson, the first of the drivers that has to go home, followed by Cody Jones, Todd Liston, and Joe Segala.
All right, so there you have your order of drivers who have to go home here tonight, but 18 of them able to run in the A main event. And now, Austin, it's time for our little 5-minute warm-up session. These drivers get to go back out on track and just kind of figure out the way that this track is going to be feeling around here. And you obviously have raced in this series many, many a time. What is the purpose of this session? Why is this so important for these drivers?
Well, DJ, this is really important for, I wasn't in this category a whole lot, but if you're a guy like Brennan Proudfoot or even our pole sitter, William Hargraves, you're coming out here because you haven't been on the track in about 20 or 30 minutes while all these laps have been going on. And of course, the more cars we have out here, the track is changing. You've seen, the track started out, you want to be on that very inside line, and then it's slowly and slowly increasing towards that outer wall away from the berm. So as those changes happen, you want to make sure your car is set up to, and your mind, to run in a different line on the track because you're out here looking for the grip. You're just basically out here reading the track. Okay, where is it Matt? Where is it Shiny? Where is it Matt again? And where have you gone yet? Where are all the marbles up on the outside of the track? That fuzzy stuff up there right against the wall.
Well, and the other thing that I think is going to be very crucial is I'm just watching some of the practice here, and William Hargraves and Steven Spies throwing sliders on one another. We normally see a decent amount of slide jobs getting thrown here at Knoxville. We haven't seen a whole lot of it. We saw some defensive sliders get thrown, but as this track wears in, I've got to think that that's going to be a preferred way to try to get on past.
Yeah, as the track becomes more and more single file, these guys are going to be almost ripping the lip exclusively. And when you do that, you can't make a pass on the outside. You want to shoot down to the inside, then go all the way back up to the wall, pulling a slide job. You can see Brandon Proudfoot almost showing that behind the rear end of Chris Davis, but you're just going to kind of shoot the car into the corner and kind of get it woed up to make sure that you don't end up slamming the outside wall, busting down the fence.
Well, and also one of the other things, and we saw this a little bit in the B main where Townsend and Hill were getting very, very aggressive in those final moments. You've also got to make sure that you don't slam into another driver. As we've talked about, a lot of respect, a lot of brotherhood and sportsmanship in this league, and drivers really don't want to be throwing those slide jobs that end up just slamming into the car that you're trying to pass.
No, you don't, because it damages your car, it damages your ego, it also damages your perception in terms of other drivers. Not to mention, we're probably going to catch it on the broadcast. You don't want to be making a fool of yourself out there on track. You want to throw the clean sliders, and these guys know if I can't clear the guy, I'm not even going to try to pull this slide job. Yeah,
exactly. Right on board right now with Jackie Whaley as he works his way around trying to feel out some of that grip down on that low side. And that is something that is going to come into play as we continue to work our way around here. And everybody does want to go high. That does mean, though, eventually that high line will slick in to a pretty extreme degree. And you've got to see if you can find grip anywhere you can around this track.
For sure, DJ. It's also really crucial if you're going to start on the inside, whether that's the initial start, if you are right now, or if you do make any positions or lose any positions in the race before lap 30, if we have a restart, they're going to be double file restarts. And if you're on the inside, sometimes you can't get all the way up to the outside. You kind of have to make do with what you got on the inside. You have to see what kind of grip is down there. You have to make sure you can even drive down there competitively. That way you're not surprising yourself in the race, spinning out or making some mistakes.
Well, exactly. It's kind of what you talked about, the purpose of this warm-up session in a nutshell. It's all about reconnaissance, just figuring out where this track has evolved. And one of the reasons why we always sing the praises of Brandon Proudfoot in that 22 is he is one of the best drivers at reading the track. It's a lot like, for those of you who are more familiar with the road racing side of things, reading a wet track, figuring out where the grip is. It can be almost a little counterintuitive when you go it. And when you're driving a dirt car, you have to be able to read where that grip is.
Yeah, that's right. Very much like you mentioned, sometimes in the rain, especially, wet line, dry line, very line sensitive. You see Jeffrey Harden out there. He's in the slick part of the track almost, just kind of getting the car to rotate. That's where the grip is for right now. You can see him just kind of straddling the differences there in 3 and 4. Then in 1 and 2, you want to go up high. Sometimes it differs on one side of the track to the other. Turns 1 and 2, you want to be up high. Turns 3 and 4, you want to be down low. And then as the race goes on, you might see them equalize out where you want to be up top both times, or you want to be on the inside both times, and sometimes we're going to just do the automatic inverse of each other. So you see our championship driver winner, Brandon Proudfoot, on his lid.
I'm not an expert on dirt, but I'm pretty sure that is not the way you want to be facing in order to win a race there. But doesn't matter too much because the checkered flag is out for our warm-up, and that means only one thing. We are ready to go racing for the main event here tonight. William Hargraves will be lining up in pole position, and Jason Best in that 47 to his outside. Chris Davis will be in P3, followed by Brandon Proudfoot with Lon Franks and Steven Spies behind them. Eli Schaefer will line up in P7, followed by J.R. Shepard. Jackie Whaley will be 9th, and Jim Revis will round out your top 10.
Yeah, starting in 11th is Brennan Myers with Glenn Townsend in 12th. Lining up in 13th is Hunter Hill with Chris Hill to his outside in 14th. 15th goes to Neville Ulf, and Jeffrey Harden is going to start in 16th. Rounding out the field, new driver Justin Simmons and Matt Shanaski. Great job for Matt making this feature.
Yeah, very, very good one for him. Well, all right, Austin, it is that time of the race. We've got 18 drivers out here, and I'm going to ask you to pick one of them. Who's your favorite tonight?
I got to go with Jason Best here. I feel like he's definitely got the speed. I feel like he's going to come out on top. Who you got, DJ?
I'm going to be taking a look at the number 7, Chris Davis. It's been a while since we've seen him in the series. I think he is going to be hungry. He is always a very aggressive but fair driver, and I think a track like this where we saw some slide jobs getting thrown, that is going to suit his driving style, and he could certainly be one to make an impression here today.
Yeah, that's a really solid pick there, DJ. The always aggressive Chris Davis, as we call him. The iRacing pace truck leads these drivers around the track as we get set to take the green here. They're going to go one parade lap and then one more with the pace with the lights out on the pace truck. Excuse me.
And now the one interesting talking point that I'm going to be taking a look at here is in that 71, figuring out where William Hargraves is going to start this race. He hasn't made a movement right now to go up to the high side, so I've got to think he's going to want to start to the low side, just try to take the shortest point from point A to point B to get this race started. And indeed, that looks like exactly what he's going to do. Hargraves will start to the inside, Best to the outside as they work their way out of turn 2 under caution. You're taking a look at Chris Hill all the way down in 13th. He'll have to move his way forward if he wants to try to end up on the podium here tonight. But right now, all eyes begin to focus on to the 71 machine, the iRacing pace truck, about ready to head off and give the control of the field over to William Hargraves. There goes the pace truck, waiting for him to get on it, and there goes the flag. We are racing in Knoxville. It is a lightning start for William Hargraves. He's able to pull out about a 3/4 of a car length advantage over everybody else. Chris Davis diving down to the low side. Jason Best getting a little bit squirrely there, coming off of 2, and that's Lon Frank starting to threaten Brandon Proudfoot holding up behind, trying to carry momentum on the high side, but he gets checked up as they dive into turn 3.
Yeah, just like you called it there, DJ. William Hargraves kind of chose the shortest path from point A to point B, then went all the way up on the high side. That's where he thinks the most of the grip is right now. I feel like he's right. You see Chris Davis really trying to get all he can on the inside. You can see these drivers. You can hear them audibly on the broadcast here, kind of just glancing off the wall a little bit with that right rear.
Yeah, banging into the wall a little bit there. I saw Best, I saw Franks, and I saw Proudfoot all getting into it. A little bit of contact there between Davis and Best, and that's going to allow for the number 7 to move his way up on forward. And now Jason Best may be under attack here from Lon Franks. Franks trying to throw the slider, but not able to get it done, courtesy of the number 7 right in his way.
Yeah, not even just Jason Best under attack from Lon Franks here. Chris Davis is too. You see Lon Franks throw a huge slider, pulls that up all the way to the outside. Chris Davis sees that coming, goes back to the inside. We have a caution, though. I think Lon's going to keep this position. We'll have to see, though, in just a couple seconds.
As we go back to check out the replay, this looks like Neville Ulf here and Glenn Townsend. I see that's the 23 getting very, very sideways down into the inside. Waiting to see here. Townsend's able to gather it up back under him. Ulf just trying to find a place. Not entirely sure what triggered this caution there.
Yeah, I don't know what would have brought it out unless that was Glenn getting a little bit too sideways down on the apron there. Not quite sure what the cause for caution here is, but definitely an odd one for sure. Great racing, though. It looks like iRacing is going to let Chris Davis keep that second position, though, so Lon Franks' slider was all for naught.
Well, but he knows that that slider can play out for him, and I'll have to see what is going to happen, because I got to think that those drivers are going to be a little bit wary now of that slide job getting thrown. I mean, you saw just how massive of a one that was for Franks, and so that line very attainable here.
Yeah, I mean, basically it shows if you're even with the guy heading down into turns 3 and 4, you can pull that off quite easily. And Chris Davis, in the veteran move, saw that coming, tried to arc the car back down to the inside, try to cut inside him through another slide job on the outside. But I feel like Chris wasn't going to be close enough to kind of pull that over-under off. So I feel like slide job definitely what you want to be doing right now. Crucially, though, Lon Franks on the outside now, not a bad deal.
No, not a bad deal at all. As they continue to work their way around, we're going to go quickly back to see. We may have an idea of what happened to Neville Ulf here. Diving into the corner, that's Hill to his outside, Townsend to his inside. Oh, I think that's a little bit of an over-rotation. The two came together, and that's what caused the spin.
Yeah, you can see just a little bit of netcode there. They didn't even really get to touching each other. They just kind of got close, and at that point, the netcode just kind of demon drags you around. We are green, though, on the speedway. William Hargraves takes the green flag, clear ahead of Chris Davis to the outside. Jason Besso down to the inside, DJ.
Yes, he is. And Jim Revis there in the 57 starting to challenge Brandon Proudfoot. He is up a multitude of positions. Hargraves able to pull himself ahead right now. Best down to the low side. Davis up high, running the multitude of lines here that we see at Knoxville as they power off the corner. Who's it going to be? It looks like momentum starting to favor back a little bit with Chris Davis. Davis is going to stick to that high side. Big clobber into the wall there for your leader. And Lon Franks shooting the gap. My goodness.
Whoa, contact between he and Chris Davis. Chris Davis hits the wall. They're sideways. They go down into turns 3 and 4. Both those drivers saves it. Chris Davis almost over-rotates the car. Huge save for him. 4 wide just behind him for battle for 5th.
And that is contact between Revis and Proudfoot. How they managed to keep all those cars pointed the same direction, I will never know. But as you said, 4 wide. And here comes J.R. Shepard now trying to work it on it as we've got a yellow flag. Looks like I'm seeing Jeffrey Harden dropping back towards the end of the field.
Yeah, that was a couple huge crunches there. Lots of door slamming. I don't know how we kept it green and clean there for as long as we did. That was immaculate saves by a lot of these drivers. You can see the contact between Revis and Proudfoot there. Hunter Hill gets in the wall. Looks like he glances off that and spins Jeffrey Harden into the outside wall. And, of course, he collapsed Glenn Townsend. Nowhere for him to go, DJ.
Yeah, it's a little bit one of those unfortunate incidents where everybody just gets a little bit caught out by that. This is where that spare car will come in handy, although I will say these cars are pretty much tanks, so they can take a pretty hard lick and keep on running.
Yeah, we've seen William Hargraves almost win a race a couple times with a very much banged up left front end and sometimes even the right front, so these cars can take a licking and keep on ticking like a Timex watch.
They can indeed. Lights on the pace truck still on here, so we'll have one more lap of caution. And remember, caution laps do not count in this series, but I've got to say, Hargrave's looking very, very tough to be able to get by at the front of the field. But that 4 wide in the back really promoted a massive shuffling of the order. Brandon Proudfoot is down 5 positions right now, all the way down in 9th. And Brendan Myers up 5 into 6th.
Yeah, Brennan having a great day. We saw him have a lot of speed in practice, then qualify almost dead last. And now he's having a really good run on here, not just from luck. He's had a lot of good speed here, able to make a lot of nice passes out on track, especially coming from the Consi race and into this one especially. So, and when you have this type of racing, to have, a huge moment like that, to see Brandon Proudfoot drop 5 spots, not surprising when they were 4, almost 5 wide coming off that corner.
Indeed, and a little bit of a change here in strategy for our leader, William Hargraves, opting to start on the high line here. So the shortest distance from point A to point B being changed here for momentum out of the 71. All right, but he will still have control of the field up on that high side. As we get ready to go racing here once again in Knoxville, waiting for Proudfoot to get on the loud pedal, and he's going to hold him a little bit longer than normal, but there he gets on it. It's a good start for him. He's going to try to pull Chris Davis along with him. Davis looking at that P2 right there. Best, and Best gets sideways. That's going to allow for Lon Franks to go on by. Chris Davis trying to get in that gap between the wall and Lon Franks. He's barely got it held out. Brendan Myers also on a charge.
Yeah, he was there. That's why Lon Franks didn't want to go all the way up to the wall. He knew if he was going to go up there, the always aggressive Chris Davis going to keep his nose in there, spin him out, take them both out. So he obviously chose the veteran move there. The first 4 cars up by the wall. Steven Spees, the first driver down on the inside. J.R. Shepard just behind him. We have another caution though out on the speedway.
We do indeed, and Jeffrey Harden looks like he's involved in this. I believe Eli Schaefer may have been as well. Schaefer was actually upside down in turn 1. Ooh, that
was just a miscommunication there between the 2 drivers, and Jeffrey Harden absolutely nowhere to go, nor did Glenn Townsend, unfortunately, on his roof, kind of like a helpless turtle there. Jeffrey Harden, I think he took some suspension damage with that hard left front hit to the front end of Hill's car there, so Harden forced to take that tow back to pit road.
Yeah, and as you said, just a little bit of an over-aggressive move there, I think, from Hunter Hill. Not exactly what we normally see here. Just a little bit of a blanking there, but that'll give us a chance to reset once again. Only 8 laps in the books here. Remember, caution laps do not count, so you will see a full 40 laps of racing action here tonight at Knoxville.
DJ, I don't even think that was just super aggressive on Hunter Hill's part. I feel like he was just going to slide all the way down to the inside, and the spotters on dirt aren't like they are on asphalt, where it's clear, cut, and dry. You kind of know where everyone is. Once the car gets all pitched like that, then you might get the call, and sometimes even then you don't. You're just going to have to take it on faith. Someone's going to be down there or not down there, so it may be somewhat aggressive, but I wouldn't say that's too, over-aggressive or egregiously,
No, indeed. Just trying to everybody scrabble for that same little bit of real estate, and sometimes that can get a little bit gnarly. But Lon Franks here up 3. He's going to be looking to make a little bit of a move here, I think. He'll be starting to the inside as once again Hargraves will be starting to the outside. I wouldn't be so sure if maybe we see Lon Franks throwing a big old slide job.
Yeah, he's got to be really careful here that he gets an incredible start all the way. These guys are starting in 4th gear, so it's basically just about managing the wheel spin when you get on the throttle. As the leader, you have the best chance of doing that, kind of easing into the throttle, spinning, 8 winning. You spin the tires, you get a really, really bad start. Chris Davis, I guarantee, is going to be down to the inside of Lon Franks if he doesn't get going just as well as he does.
Indeed is there. He does get going. A good jump for Hargraves, but Frank's keeping him on as Chris Davis tucking in right behind as well. Jason Vest trying to make that high line work. They fan out almost 3 wide. Frank's trying to throw a little bit of a modified slider. Chris Davis down to the low side, getting a good run, but Lon Franks, Davis didn't shut the door enough on Lon Franks, and he's going to be able to keep up that momentum around the high side. They'll be 2 wide coming out of turn 4. Franks has some good speed. I think he's going to try to power on by Chris Davis.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a drag race down the front stretch. Frank's almost clear of Davis as they head down into turns 1 and 2. The high side is where you want to be right now. Chris Davis just not nailing the inside. Lon Frank's going to power by, probably clear Chris Davis before they get to turns 3 and 4. Unfortunately, Jason Best, not able to get to the outside of Chris Davis in time.
No, not able to do it. Belon Franks is going to carry on there. Davis is going to be up on the high side. That's Steven Spees working super low on Jason Best, trying to make that work.
Whoa, push from Best to Davis, trying to help him down the straightaway.
Whoa, we got a little bit of stock car action going on here as we run with these dirt street stocks. As there you see Steven Spees trying to work on Jason Best, running that low line. He's going to bring J.R. Shepard along with him down on the super low line. Best trying to avoid dropping another position here. He's already down 3 on the day, but it looks like Spees has it done. Now he sets his eyes on the number 7 of Chris Davis.
Yeah, Jason Best is really lucky there that Brendan Myers wasn't able to get to his outside. I don't know how he got through the corner that slowly, or if Brendan Myers just got a huge run, but he was very, very close to getting the outside of Jason. That would have been a position loss for sure.
Indeed, it would have been, as there they go. The leader's starting to streak away here a little bit as this mid-pack continues to squabble a little bit. Davis continuing to run on the high side. Spees continuing to run low. J.R. Shepard trying to gain some momentum. Oh, Jason Best trying to thread the needle there a little bit, but I think he had to back out of it. Spees not being deterred from going low.
Yeah, Spees Chill's trying to stay down on that low side. He's a bottom feeder, very much how you see it a lot of the NASCAR guys on the cup side, with the exception, of course, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson. Those guys like to rip the lip up on the high side. Steven Spees right at home on the bottom. J.R. Shepard is as well, but he's one of the drivers very much a key to taking a liking to the high side. If that's where all the speed is, J.R.'s up there right now.
Well, it looks like Steven Spees is going to have a little bit of company because Brendan Myers is working that high line around the outside and making it work very, very well. A little bit of a blink there from the 25. Is now here comes a move from Jason Best. He's going to throw a big slide job on Chris Davis. Davis looking for the crossover, trying to diamond off the corner. He's going to have it done and at least be a nose ahead as they cross out of turn 2.
Yeah, just a little bit of opposite lock there from Chris Davis, getting a little bit sideways. Now Jason Best back into the clutches of Brendan Myers and Steven Spees. You see them still side by side down the front stretch. Drag race into turns 1 and 2 here. Jason Best going to pull another slide job on Chris Davis.
And this time he catches the momentum a little bit. Davis has to check himself up, but there's still a little bit of contact, and that's going to allow for some momentum for Brendan Myers.
Myers into the back of Chris Davis, almost spun Chris into the wall.
And how Myers kept that thing pointed the right way, I will never know. Now it's side by side between Chris Davis and Steven Spees. They're in a straight drag race as they cross over the start-finish line. Spees going down to his normal territory on the low side, but throws a slider. Davis responds to it, and here comes Proudfoot on the high line.
Yeah, watch out for Brennan. He came out of nowhere, just like Kevin Harvick, the closer. Where did he come from? You see Spees in the middle. Looks like Chris Davis all the way on the low side, goes back up to the high side. Too wide down the backstretch. Brendan Proudfoot now clear into 4th place.
Proudfoot scything his way through the competition there. Spees now trying to throw a little bit of a slider on Chris Davis. Doesn't look that's going to work. He's got to check up his momentum. Davis is going to be able to carry some speed from that high line, and we start to spread out here a little bit with Jason Best in 3rd, Brandon Proudfoot 4th, and Spees and Davis continuing to squabble for P5.
Yeah, just behind them, they're 3 wide. You got Shepard, Simmons, and Rivas. They've been having a battle the entire race, these guys. You see Hunter Hill. Brendan Myers, one of the guys that was battling for that top 5 spot just a couple laps ago. J.R. Shepard gets spun on the front end of Justin Simmers, collecting a couple cars. Matt Shinaski also involved. We still haven't had a caution yet. Neville Alf involved. Glenn Townsend involved in this one as well. All the cars get going. Still no yellow.
Oh, and we've just had a change for the lead as William Hargraves clobbered into the outside wall, and that has allowed for Lon Franks to breeze on by, opening up a gap of about 5 car lengths. Man, you couldn't draw that up any prettier.
You could not. That was picture perfect there for Lon Franks as William Hargraves got on the wall like you mentioned there, DJ. We'll have to see if we can't get a replay of that. Perfect timing, though, as soon as we get a caution, or almost a caution, a huge wreck involving about 6 or 7 cars. We see a change for the lead.
Indeed. Want to jump you back here a little bit as that battle dissipates because Brandon Proudfoot is making a move on Jason Best. Here is that move, though. There you can see the big ka-thunk into the outside wall for the 71, and Lon Franks just picks the pocket of William Hargraves and moves himself on forward.
Yeah, that was a hard lick, DJ. Brandon Proudfoot still battling with Jason Best. He's now cleared him just a little bit. The next battle on track is between Chris Davis and Steven Spees. Now you look at the car behind them. Jim Rivas also wants to get a piece of this action. He says, hey, I'd like to get a shot at the top 5.
Exactly, Jim Revis. All three drivers running that high line here, seeing what they can do. Revis looking a little bit lower, just trying to see if there's any bit of movement that he can get. They dive down now into turn one. If there going to be any differences in the lines, no, but it looks like Revis is able to carry a lot more momentum. Spies just looking to be a little bit floundering there on the high side, not liking it as much, and again makes contact with the wall coming off the two.
Yeah, you can tell Steven is really fast anywhere he wants to go. He's just not as good on the top line as someone that likes to be up there all the time, like Chris Davis and Jim Rivas. So certainly holding his own, but he's just not as comfortable up there.
No, he's really not. There they go, though. Spies getting a little bit sideways. We check back in on the battle for P2 as William Hargraves has now been caught by Brandon Proudfoot. Hargraves,
whoa, Hargraves!
Big into the wall. My goodness, he almost climbed that thing.
Yeah, two wheels were up there. He was definitely 2 wheels on the wall, 2 wheels down on the track, kind of Lightning McQueen-esque. You see Brandon Proudfoot just slips on into P2. Now he's going to try and hunt down the leader. Jason Best to the inside of William Hargraves now. He is falling apart.
Hargraves really losing his stuff here and there. You can see very quick reaction times from Brandon Proudfoot, able to get his way on by. Hargraves has got a problem. Hargraves is coming into the pits. Your pole sitter is calling it quits.
Yeah, I think when he hit the wall as hard as he did, he had some problems. Jason Best has been hitting the wall pretty hard a couple times. I feel like he's going to go the same way as William Hargraves. William Hargraves now has manually disconnected from the session. Hate to see it from someone that fast.
Oh, my goodness. So this is now going to put our best battle on track between these two gentlemen, Steven Spies and Jim Revis. Revis trying to get on by Spies to be able to take that elusive top 5. Chris Davis leads them in P4. Revis looking at a little bit of a slider, but not able to get it on by.
Yeah, this is the closest battle we have out on track. Lon Franks is just loving all the action, and behind him, Brandon Proudfoot just taking advantage of all these guys getting into the outside wall, turning into a race of attrition right here. You really got to respect the car. You have to keep it off that outside wall. There's a lot of time to be gained up there, but you just kind of risk flirting with that thing too much.
Indeed you do, and as we work on by here, we only have about 12 laps to go as we work on lap 28. Ooh, nice little battle in the back there. That is Hill and Myers as they go side by side. This is for P7.
Yeah, Hill on the outside, Myers on the inside. 2 more drivers behind them, going to be Jackie Whaley and Matt Shanaski trying to have a good run here.
Indeed, they will. Hill just trying to work on that high line. He's got to be careful. We've seen the damage that high line can do to the cars, and already some damage to Hunter Hill's machine. Side by side in the back there, though, between Chris Hill and Jackie Whaley. Very good stuff. Oh, that was a pinch down to the inside for Jackie Whalen. He's able to get it done.
Battle for the lead here, DJ.
Battle for the lead. Proudfoot has caught Lon Franks.
Yeah, he ran him down by at least about 3 seconds or so. They've been trading slide jobs now, it looks like. So both these guys right up against the wall. They're going to have to be really careful, though. They don't want to go the same way of William Hargraves. Jason Best, also one of the drivers, he's been falling back pretty heavily now that he's been hitting the wall a lot. We're going to get a replay, though, of this slide job here. You look at Brandon Proudfoot all the way down on the inside, hits that berm, gets it to rotate the car. Lon Franks sees that coming, though, stays on the outside, puts the power down. Caution.
Yellow, yellow, yellow out on track, and this is going to be crucial for all of these battles. This looks like it was Chris Hill, Brennan Myers getting up into the wall, big time right in front of him, and just a little bit of unavoidable contact there, I think, between the two trying to hold the line, and that is going to send Chris Hill around the long way, and Barney the flagman throwing that yellow flag, and crucially here, we are under 10 laps to go. It's going to be a single file restart.
Yeah, back down to single file restarts. That caution, though, you hate to see that if you're anybody. That was going to be an awesome race. We should be in, though, for a lot more excitement for the end of this thing. The last 8 laps or so should be awesome. Brendan Myers just got in the wall there, kind of the same way we saw happen to William Hargraves, and then 2 cars cannot go into 1 car with the room, and then we saw those 2 cars get collected. Unfortunately, Chris Hill kind of got the raw end of the deal there, but I'm sure Brendan Myers didn't want to hit the wall. He might have some damage. Would not be too surprised to see him come down pit road, get that fast repair for the last 9 laps here.
And nor would I. And the way this will work, as we said, single file restart here. Lon Franks will lead them to the green, and we should restart here with about 8 or 9 laps to go. So this is going to be a shootout to the finish.
Yeah, this is going to be all the marbles on the table. You're not holding anything back. Just the same way you want to be on offense completely. If you're one of the last 3 or 4 guys in those kinds of races, that's the same way Brendan Proudfoot is right now. He wants to win this race. All these drivers, no points on the line anymore for Brandon. He clinches the championship no matter what. He's putting it all out on the table. Obviously, still going to be respectful, but he wants to win another race.
Yeah, exactly. That is what he is going to want to do. But the pace truck lights are off here. Lon Franks will have control of the field, but he knows that that purple time behind him was set the fastest lap of the race by Brandon Proudfoot. Really, really good stuff here. So we get restarted with 9 laps to go. They will come here on lap 32. Pace truck scampers off. Franks holds the field and now gets on the loud pedal, able to get a little bit of a jump over Brandon Proudfoot. I'd call that about a car length and a half, 2 car lengths as they cross the start-finish line. But now it is all to play for. Most drivers going up the high side. Looks like Revis, the first driver, opting to go low. Oh, Franks gets up into the wall. Proudfoot able to carry momentum, and we've got another yellow.
Yeah, Lon Frank's extremely lucky to have this caution fly when he did because he got in the wall. He checked up extremely hard, handful of opposite lock. That allowed Brandon Proudfoot to get right on his rear bumper. That was going to be slide job material right there. We're going to look at the cause for caution here in just a couple seconds. Looks like Chris Davis kind of over-rotated car. Steven Spees just got into the rear end of him there. Unfortunately spun out Chris Davis, so he'll be forced to go probably to the back of the pack here by the time we go back green.
Exactly, and that is a big heartbreak for the number 7, who's been running very, very well this entire race. And so he will have to start at the back of the field, back in 14th position. No real changes up front. Your biggest mover thus far is Matt Shanoski, who is up 9 positions on the day. Hunter Hill, the closest behind him, up 7.
Yeah, huge run for Matt. Honestly, an achievement of it in itself to make these races. Matt went from not making the field for most of the weeks and kind of making it if we didn't have enough cars sometimes or not too many cars. And for him to make this race, he has to be extremely proud of himself and especially performing as well as he has. Doing a great job inside the top 10, like you mentioned, DJ. Phenomenal, phenomenal job from Matt tonight.
Exactly, but we've got to focus back on Lon Franks because unless my eyes deceive me, the lights are off and we're ready to get restarted here. Nope, my bad. The lights are still on. My eyes have deceived me.
That's all right. It's really hard to tell this far away, especially because the lights sometimes don't look like they're on. If the truck is too far away on the client side for your camera angle, you just cannot see the lights at all sometimes. You have to get really, really close. So we will do one more parade lap around before we go green.
And this should restart us with 8 laps to go. So Franks is going to be hoping to get another good jump again and avoid that wall. As you said earlier, Proudfoot looked like he was about ready to pounce. I'm also going to keep my eye on Jason Best, see if he can maybe move his way forward. Spees and Revis, also very aggressive. Revis, the only driver that we saw opt to go down low on that last restart, so he may have something to play into that. We now watch here as the pace truck does pull in, and Franks gets on the loud pedal very, very early, riding through the slick of 3 and 4, just trying to get the power down as much as possible. Dives the car into 1 and 2 right now. Revis again going low. Jason Best getting a little bit friendly with the wall. It looks like Franks, though, doesn't have the best exit off the corner. He's able to hold it on, but Proudfoot is closing.
Yeah, Proudfoot now looks all the way down to the inside. Slide job for Proudfoot on Lon Franks. He clears him. Lon sees it coming, gets down to the inside. Contact, though, made between the 2 cars. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch. They touch. More contact is made heading into turns 1 and 2.
And I don't think that was...
Oh, huge contact. Both cars into the wall. Jason Best now comes away with the lead. Steven Spees in second. They're wrecking behind him.
They are indeed, and I think Lon Franks' car...
involved.
No, Lon Franks' car is damaged there. I see the 03 around of Justin Simmons. Hopefully he'll be able to get it pointed the right way. Still no yellow flag thrown out on track. It is Jason Best. Jason Best up in Spees.
Even Spees gets spun to the outside wall. Now we have a caution. My goodness, this... well, AJ, that was a humdinger.
Oh my goodness gracious, that is an incident to end all incidents. A lot of damage there. Spees and Best coming together. We're going to have to take a look at the replay on this. Now, I think when you saw that damage with Lon Franks and Brandon Proudfoot, I think Franks picked up some damage because the way he slid into turn 1 just did not look like that car was handling correctly.
Nah, he was definitely dog tracking, not the way you want to be on dirt. He definitely sustained some suspension damage. You see Steven Spies now into the pits as well. I don't know what caused that last caution we saw, but Steven obviously believes his car is terminally broken, so he's coming down pit road to get that fast repair. Brandon Proudfoot in the lead of this race. He might not have damage at all.
He may not. As we re-rack here, it's Proudfoot, Revis, Hill, Whaley, and Ulf. There you can see that coming together. Now, that was really all tipped off by
Lon Franks.
Yeah, it was all of that by Lon Franks and just stacked up the entire field as they went around. It's a domino effect incident if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, Matt Shanaski, really raw end of the deal there. He was just riding around having a good race, career race for Matt practically, and just to get T-boned like that, not even of his own fault, I hate to see that for Matt.
Yeah, as do I, as we check out this replay. This was, I believe, the big contact.
Yeah, Brandon Proudfoot throws the slide job here. Lon doesn't really see it coming, thinks Brandon's either going to clear him or not clear him at all. He tries to get to his inside. They make some contact, and I think this might have broken the suspension on Lon Franks' car, but then they make contact here. We're back green on the speedway, though.
We are indeed. Proudfoot able to get a good jump on the field. Jim Revis and Hunter Hill trying to close in behind him. Jackie Whaley diving low on Hunter Hill to see if there's anything to be had. 6 laps to go here at Knoxville. Brandon Proudfoot starting to pull away, but that car is dog tracking. Did you see the way he tried to set it up?
I sure did, DJ. I think he's hurting for certain. There's another caution out on the speedway. I think this is for Neville Ulf. I think he might not have figured he had any damage, and when he tried to get that car going green, he might have just been dog tracking it. J.R. Shepard, though, slow as well, so we'll have to see what the cause for caution was here, but this is certainly not how I expected this race to play out.
No, as we have been pretty clean for the most of it. So this is Ulf coming down through 1 and 2. You can see the pretty heavy damage to the front of that car. Did he just, made a little
yeah, he just got demon dragged by Simmons, and then Brendan Myers had nowhere to go and kind of just sent him around.
Yeah, able to get the car restarted and going, so that'll be lucky for him. Okay, so we re-rack here. We should have about 5 laps to go. There was the tip around for J.R. Shepard. Not a lot of damage to that 98, but enough to that probably more than anything was what triggered the caution.
Yeah, most likely. We can't really tell for sure. Sometimes in iRacing, lights still out atop the iRacing pace truck, still on, excuse me. So see Steven Spies having a black flag cleared just for passing on pit road under the yellow flag here, just trying to serve that or make sure it's cleared.
Indeed. All right, pace truck lights are out, though, so we are going to restart here. No, they're not. They did it to me again. I just can't see with my own 2 eyes today. As we will restart, though, with 5 laps to go, and we have got to keep an eye on that 22. If that is handling as poor as we think it is, I think that is going to be an open opportunity for Jim Revis to be able to move his way on by. All right, as we get ready to go back under green again, it is Proudfoot, Revis, Hill, Whaley, and Myers, your top 5. They get ready to get going under green. Once again, waiting for everything to play out, waiting for the pace truck to move its way down to the inside. As there it goes off into pit lane. Proudfoot stacks up the field a little bit, tries to get a good start, but that is very quick behind is Jim Revis. He's only going to allow about a car length of an advantage between himself and Brandon Proudfoot. Proudfoot tracks into the corner trying to go high, but that car looking very, very snappy. Revis trying to carry as much speed as possible.
Yeah, he's slow. Brandon Proudfoot's doing everything he possibly can to keep this race going. They're 3 wide for 3rd place behind him. Hill on the outside. That's going to be Jackie Whaley in the middle, and Brendan Myers all the way down on the inside.
Yes, it is. They come back to the stripe, and somehow Brandon Proudfoot continues to keep that car pointed the right direction. The side-by-side Whaley and Myers going down into the corner. Some big contact into the wall there for Hunter Hill.
Wall.
Exactly, and that's going to allow for both Whaley and Myers to get up on by. They'll come down. Here comes the slide job from Jim Revis. Tries to dive it down low. Not going to work, though, for Proudfoot. We're going to cross the line with 3 to go.
Yeah, Proudfoot's still in front by about a whole half a second. That's 3 or 4 car lengths. You can see Hill and Jackie Whaley making contact with each other as they come off the corner. Brendan Myers now clearing to 3rd place. More contact behind him. The always aggressive Chris Davis. He says he'd like another shot at this podium for sure at top 5 here.
And that's him and Simmons getting very, very fun next to each other. They're going to be almost 3 wide, 4 wide as they come through 3 and 4. There you can see Matt Shanoski sitting kind of in the popcorn position to all of this. They all bunch together across the line and somehow make it through. It's 2 laps to go here at Knoxville. They're all working their way around. Brandon Proudfoot still has a gap of about 5 car lengths. Back in the back of the pack, though, it is absolute pandemonium. A lot of drivers running together here, trying to see who can be able to hold on to that final top 5 position. Almost near contact between every one of them.
Oh, they're spinning Chris Davis around. We've already taken the white flag, though. This might be the end of the race if we don't end under caution. Chris Davis might be able to get that car spun around.
He may indeed, but it's going to be Brandon Proudfoot, who now comes out of 3 and 4, working his way into the corners for the final time, riding that high line in a very, very damaged machine. You can see just how much wheel he's having to put into the car, but the 22 again will take victory and win at Knoxville. Jim Revis will take it behind him, and behind them it's a drag race with Brendan Myers barely holding out over Hunter Hill and Jackie Whaley.
Yeah, that was about 7/100ths of a second. The advantage of Myers over Hill and Whaley. Extremely close race there. They were 3 wide for the last spot on the podium. That was incredible.
Oh my goodness gracious. We said Knoxville was going to provide some action, and we were not lying. There you can see your final finishing order. It was Brandon Proudfoot taking victory here. Jim Revis behind him, Brendan Myers rounding out your podium positions. Hunter Hill was P4, followed by Jackie Whaling and Steven Spees. Justin Simmons coming home P7 with Jason Best, a disappointing P8. Matt Shanoski and J.R. Shepard rounding out your top 10.
Glenn Townsend comes home at 11th spot, followed by Neville Alf in 12th. Chris Davis comes home in 13th with Lon Franks in 14th. Coming home in 15th is Chris Hill. 16th goes to William Hargraves with Jeffrey Harden coming home in 17th. Rounding out the field is Eli Schaefer.
Well, Austin, we said we wanted some fireworks for a season finale, and we certainly got them. Can you imagine a race going more insane than that, especially in the last couple of laps?
No, sir, I cannot. Talk about, the NASCAR broadcast. Have you ever? No, I've never. That was incredible. We've never seen that happen before. The kind of lead changes that have gone on, just the amount of wrecks between the leaders and the dog tracking that went on, that was nuts.
Absolutely insane. As we give our drivers a brief minute here to catch their breath, as I'm sure they're about as exhausted as we are, waiting for these drivers to show up. But Austin, this just goes to show the amount of talent that they have in this series, the amount of tenacity for these drivers to fight their way back up through the field like they did.
Yeah, it's really a non-give-up attitude. You kind of stay in here every lap, every single position. But I think we can take a break here, DJ.
All right, we are going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, we will have those driver interviews, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the virtual Knoxville Speedway. We are lucky enough to be joined by our podium finishers here. First and foremost, Mr. Brandon Proudfoot. Brandon, I got to ask you, it looked like that car was an absolute handful at the end. How hard was it to drive?
Cushion. It wasn't so much the car more than it was the cushion. It was really, really aggressive, especially there in turn one. I actually even flipped the car in warm-ups because the cushion it's just so large that it's almost kind of gets like a ditch there up behind it. It's quite the thing to go against.
Well, I mean, you were able here today to really fight your way up through the field and really duke it out. And it looked like the track was super, super racy.
Yeah, it was. It was. I personally really, really like running the cushion here. I think I was back to 10th at one point, and as it started getting really spotty, I kind of just tried to stay patient, stay up there, and uh, and I got up to like sixth, and then I was able to actually to get into a rhythm and really just start checking off boxes, 5, 4, 3, and then eventually got to lawn there. And
Well, talk to me a little bit about those cautions that were coming in at the end. They all seem to sort of favor you a little bit to be able to catch up to Lon. Obviously, you were trading some stuff back and forth. Any frustration with the cautions, or was it a little bit of a thankful break to have in what was some pretty intense racing?
mixed feelings a little bit. I felt I had a lot of momentum there going up right before that first caution. I was gaining on him pretty well. And at that time, I was obviously going the rhythm. You guys know I'm a rhythm guy, and those getting those cautions definitely breaks the rhythm a little bit. But fortunately enough, the first caution we had was on lap 31, so I believe 90% of the field was thankful that it was actually single file, and you didn't have 9 cars on the inside all trying to fight to get up there, which certainly would have just been caution the rest of the way through.
For sure. Well, Brandon, you've been up here enough. You know how it works, my friend. Anybody you would like to thank for this run up through the field and the victory today?
Of course, Miss Bourbon, winners get whiskey, baby. General Tire, Vision Wheel, Next Level Racing, Sant Racing Fabrication, Yes to Motorsport, Wall, and all the guys do IRT, everything in the background. You guys here at Virtual Grip Network for having us on board, fiance, family, friends, and anybody that roots me on the socials and on the broadcast. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Brandon. That was Brandon Proudfoot, your winner here today. And now, Austin, I believe you've caught up with P2, Mr. Jim Revis.
I have. Hey, Jim, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you, man.
We've seen a lot more speed out of you tonight than we have in previous weeks, so you really had the car hooked up just like you needed to. Talk me through the race, brother.
Oh, man. Qualified, one bad. Heat race, trying for one, and got in Jason a little bit. And, I'm not going to take a win like that. So I backed off and ended up getting passed by Steven. So I had to do the Consi, won the Consi, and then started, I think, back in 6th or 8th, one of the two. And just kind of worked my way up through the field, missing the wrecks, trying to stay out of them, and trying to make my moves when I could.
For sure. Kind of the race just ended up coming to you there at the end. Talk me through what went through your mind as soon as you saw all those leaders kind of just one by one, kicking the bucket like dust.
Well, that's 90% of the time, that's what happens when you ride the wall at Knoxville now. You ride the wall, it catches you, it flips you, it wrecks you, or it can make you fast if you can hit it just right. And, some drivers were hitting it just right tonight to use the wall to their benefit.
Certainly, you mentioned hitting that wall. It's certainly being a hot topic here all season long. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to definitely got to give a shout out to my guys over at JRE, Lon, Dan, and on a side note, Bobby, for helping us out and everything. We got something in the works over there. iRacing iFlags, Jeff over there. Ryco Motorsports, got to give them a huge shout out. iRacing Dirt Painters, E1G, and of course, man, you guys for always doing an awesome broadcast.
Well, certainly we thank you as well for your time, Jim. I think DJ has caught up with Brennan Myers.
I have indeed. Brennan, a little bit of a rise up through the field. They're up 8 positions on the day. Finishing up on the podium has got to feel good.
Yeah, super fun race. Is kind of interesting how I ended up in 3rd. I fought my way all the way up there and got squeezed into the wall, fell all the way back, damaged the car, but had some luck there at the end and made it back up.
Well, talk to me a little bit about your mentality. Obviously, you get knocked out like that. I mean, what were you kind of aiming to do starting in the back there? Were you going hyper aggressive, trying to fight your way forward, or you were just going to let what chances come what may?
Yeah, I was just trying to put myself in some good positions. I saw everyone in front of me was starting to get aggressive towards the end, so I was just sitting and waiting and found some holes that opened up.
Well, I mean, those holes opened up well for you. And, just that run to the line there, it looked like all of that kerfluffle that was going on with you. Were you a little bit scared you were going to get taken out again?
Yeah, definitely. And I was having trouble turning left. I didn't want to turn left like it should. So I was trying to just keep the car straight and off the wall, off the other cars, and That was probably what I was most worried about, but yeah, we made it.
Well, you made it indeed. You're on the third step of the podium, and anybody you would like to thank for that run?
Yeah, of course, I'd like to thank Lowell. He does such a great job. It's a great league. Everyone at BRL, it's so much fun. Getting to run in this when I can with with guys with so much talent, and everyone races so clean. You guys in the booth, you guys do an awesome job. It's fun to watch the broadcasts. And last, I'd like to thank the wife. She lets me do this and lets me be late to dinner every Friday night.
We always have to thank our significant others for letting us indulge in this hobby. Thank you so much, Brendan, and congratulations again.
Thank you, guys.
Well, folks, that's about going to wrap things up for us here. On behalf of Austin Belke, David Christie, and the rest of us at VGN, we'd like to thank you for joining us here at the virtual Knoxville Raceway. As we said, this is the end of the season for the BRL Dirt Street Stock Series, but there is still races on the channel, including tomorrow night, which will be the BRL Grand National Series finale from New Smyrna live at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back for that race at New Smyrna. This has been a production of the Virtual Grip Network. And until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.